Where do I begin? Welcome to Jay's Unspoken Stories. This first one is the tough one. And I thought, why is this the toughest one? It's because this had set the stage of how I felt growing up to that point, and then where I'm at today. As I've always said, you be good to yourself and be good to others, for we do not know what part of the journey they're on. We don't. Don't judge. Disclaimer on this situation is I will be talking about my children, my family, my friends. It's going to be the good, the bad, and the ugly. But this is my side. And this is not to throw anyone under the bus. This is not saying that you are a bad person. This is not saying anything about that individual. Because that individual was going through the situation that I was going through at the same time, but they were handling it differently. And they're handling it differently today because of the actions that I had chose or had happen. It's not by my choice. I am not close with my children, and it rips me up every single day. It kills me more than anything, and I want to put that out there. I want to be in my daughter's life and her children's life and my grandchildren. I want to be involved with my son and his beautiful wife and their granddaughter, or my granddaughter, their daughter. Yeah, it's choice. Yes, yes, one has to make the first move. Yes, one needs to if they want to be in someone's life, they need to show up. And it goes both ways. That's the tough part. It goes both ways. Having a facade and faking it, one starts to think, what happened? Where did it go wrong? What could have I done differently? There's a lot of what ifs. I'm not excusing any of my actions. I apologize, but there's nothing I can change. And that's not a negative. That's not a throwing out the rug. It's reality. There's things that I wish I didn't do. And this is the beginning of a part of my life that shaped me and slapped in my face. What had happened was, my daughter and my son's father and I were going through a separation, through a divorce. It was brought to my attention that there was multiple affairs, and there can be tons of denying it, but when your children come to you and say, yeah, we knew this was happening, it rips the heart out than anything when you hear it from your children. We lived a life that I loved. Entertaining, throwing parties, the social events. I thought my kids were happy. I thought. And my thought was wrong. It was wrong. I thought I was the understanding parent. I thought I would, we had family time. We had, whenever there was a disagreement or a question of what's going on, in your life, or there's a misunderstanding, I always try to have a family meeting. And it was like I'd given them time to sit, we sit with the four of us and discuss, how can we change this? How can we improve on this? And they had an open floor. And yes, there are things that their father and I had set boundaries. Yes, as a protective parent. As a parent growing up as a child, we don't want our children to experience. And sometimes as parents, we go we go crazy. We try to protect them too much, or we do something too little, or, no parent is given that handbook or that game book or the recipe of how to raise a healthy child. And it's really messed up when the parents aren't healthy themselves and not really having the tools of realizing what their triggers were and why they were having issues growing up. My triggers are dealing with abandonment and neglect and being diagnosed with CPTSD. Yeah, I didn't have friends growing up. I sabotaged it. And I thought to myself, did I sabotage the situation with my children? There's been the past 10, it's been tough. It's been even tougher when you have your children not active in your life. I'm not going to be chasing after them. It's a relationship goes both ways, even with a parent and children. It's a give and take. The reasoning of this video is when I was separated with my children's father, I had moved out and I had met someone because I was so afraid of not being loved or being alone, and I was seeking attention. I did not make some wise decisions, believe me. And a lot of, in this situation, it's not an excuse. I'm not giving an excuse. This is what happened. Being preyed on, knowing that you are a nice person, and feeding you with lots of lies. And when they get their hooks into you, it was not healthy. And what I mean by healthy is that there was a lot of abuse. There was a lot of verbal abuse. There was a lot of mental abuse. There was a lot of physical abuse. There was a lot of SA. I can still, this is going to be difficult. And I'm putting warnings out there right now. If someone's experiencing some form of abuse, please, if this is uncomfortable, don't watch this. But I can still feel the fists. I can still feel or see the feet coming at me, the kicks. I can still feel, I can still visualize and hear and the feeling of that. And my kids didn't know because I didn't want them to worry, and they felt, because they brought it to my attention, that I was picking this individual over them, and that wasn't true. Far from truth. But I didn't know how to get out of it. And don't tell me, well, you can just pick up your bags and leave. It's not always that easy. I'm a smart woman. Believe me. Being judged. My daughter had invited me to go to a counseling session with one of her old friends and their family. It was an old boyfriend. In fact, it was my grandson's grandparents. I'm going to be raw and real. And I was honored in the fact that they wanted to bring me into a safe place, and maybe just to get to figure out, maybe they can hear my side. Maybe they can hear I need help. I need some assistance here. I need help. And I felt so alone. And I was alone. Going into this session with this, and this is the part that irritates me more than anyone who has a license to do therapy. Whoa. Step back. Step back. Remove the title. Understand where you are licensed, and you don't know what's going on. So everyone's discussing and the topic of me and me going through a hard time, and I wasn't going to bring up the essays. I wasn't going to bring up the hits. I wasn't going to bring up I was not going to bring any of that up. No. My children were going through a difficult time already with the divorce. They already feel like I'm picking this person over them, and it's like, no, I'm not. I'm just trying to get on my feet to get out of the situation. Well, the topic was, well, let's grade her as a mother. Let's see how she's doing. This is from him, the therapist. I don't like tests anyway. It always seems like everything goes out when I'm ready to take that test. I had two parents, a mother and father, who've been married for many, many years, and probably are very faithful to each other, so probably don't understand, but I'm assuming, which I'm wrong saying this, I'm not going to say that. I don't know if he came across to her as I don't know, an abusive father. I don't know. But the question was, let's grade Jonna as a mother. How is she doing as a mother? And I sat there shocked, and I'm trying to hold it together because I see that little girl, me, sitting on that front porch, visualizing I am alone. No one's here to save me. I am being judged of choices that happened in my past that I'm reacting today, but I don't have the tools to say stop. Going through school, I got a lot of C's. A lot of C's. And I got a lot of C's that day. You can, the mother goes, you can probably do, I don't know what you're going through, but you're doing the best you can. The father goes, I don't know what she's going through, but I'm gonna give, divorce is tough, but maybe a B. Thanks. And then her boyfriend goes, well, But my daughter, she was hurting. My daughter was hurting. My daughter's still hurting to this day, and she can deny it, but I know she's hurting. I know her making the choice, me not being in her life today, was a difficult one. She had to set boundaries, and I give her kudos for that. I really do. I really do. Because I had to do the same before she said her final line. Walking out of that therapist's office with a C rating as a parent, and my kids today, they're wonderful. My grandkids, of what I do know, of what I've seen up to that part before the line was drawn in the sand, I was so proud. Being judged by people all my life, and accused of things that I didn't do or I wasn't able to speak up about, turned me into who I am today. It's made me stronger. It's made me realize that I do deserve to be happy. I do deserve to set boundaries. I do deserve to be loved. I'm not perfect. I'm far from being perfect. And I don't want to be perfect. I want to be me. Finally me. Being judged by actions that one has had to do to survive, I can only imagine what my son has gone through in his life. The turmoil. I wouldn't want that on him. I can imagine my daughter. But I can say this today. I am so proud of them, both of them. I love them with all my heart. I did write them a letter a year and a half ago when I was going through therapy. And I apologized to them for being the mother that I was. And I just wanted to break the curse, the family curse. I wanted them to speak their voice. I wanted them to understand that I'm not perfect. And I don't know if they misunderstood the letter, but I wasn't blaming nobody. So if they want to blame me, blame me. I'm just learning. I was learning. But it was the letter of reaching out, like passing the baton. Let's break the family curse. Let's speak how we feel. Let's not allow certain behaviors. That's what the letter was for. I didn't blame anybody. I didn't point the finger. I didn't do nothing. I accepted. And since then, I haven't heard from them since. And I understand. They're doing what they need to do at this time. So sitting in that therapist's office, wanting to break down, but my daughter always hated me to cry because she felt I used it as a weapon. And it wasn't a weapon of weakness. It was I needed to get it out. When you bottle things in, or when I do, It makes me ill, physically ill. And it makes sense why I get depressed, or because you keep all of those emotions in. In the last 9 years of that marriage, I just was divorced. Suck it up, be a soldier. Soldiers don't cry. I hadn't cried for many years. And that was tough. Because I was an emotional person and I wasn't an emotional person. It's like, who am I? I am a woman who has been through 2 divorces, who's given birth to 2 beautiful children, who's now finally finding her voice. And I just want to share and encourage you and empower you validate you're not alone. And uplift knowing that you are making a difference. I knew this was going to be a tough one. I knew it was going to be tough. This first video was going to be tough because it's dealing with something so raw. Like I always say, be good to yourself and be good to others, for we do not know what part of their journey they're on. I love you. I'll see you in the next video. I'm not sure what the topic will be. I have all my topics down, but I haven't really... Chapter 2. Love you always. And for now, Jay's Unspoken Stories.